Testing, testing, and then we want to put the audio output capture, right? Just the usual, and then play some music. We'll get that started. Hello. Hey everyone. I'm just gonna get started. I'm just putting out my email blasts real quick, just so, because some of my coworkers might want to check this out. So we will be starting in just a moment. And just saying everybody here. Let's see here. Reply all. Hello everyone. Oops. I'll be starting in a few minutes. So. Hey, Mr. Gagne. Ah, sweet. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for the support. So, I'll be starting in a few minutes. So, if you're interested, drop by. I will be making the rubric available to everyone. Yeah, I was setting this up during our meeting as well, and I'm like, oh, whoops, I forgot there were some issues with my Streamlabs. I'm still learning all these new things, and I'm like, oh, cool. Good thing. I was like, oh, it's good. I'll be starting. Twitch.tv. I'll just put the link up here. I think there's somebody else that I need to include in here. Thank you so much for those that are supporting. I really do appreciate it. Red Baloo. I like that name. Red Baloo. Nice and catchy. Wow. This is my former teacher. For real? Oh, hey, I don't know you. That's like a funny. Hey, Marvin. Oh man, yeah. I'm trying some different stuff today. I'm going to be I'm literally like gonna make a new rubric. It's like the most like nerdiest thing in the world, but it's gonna be so good. And other teachers keeping an 80s music reference, by the way. It's Jamari. Hey, it's Jamari. Jamari's here. Cool. So we are going to be starting just a moment. I need to put. Oh yeah, I gotta put it up on my Discord so people know. Let's see here. Hey y'all, I'll be streaming. Oh, rubric making. It's an experiment. I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. Twitch. Okay. And then I'll put this up right here. I'm just gonna blow it up on everyone's thing here. Copy this. Copy message. And then who else? Oh yeah, I have to put it in my string. Self promotion. Okay, yeah, we'll just get started in just a moment. Just because it's like, and then if we have time later today, I'll play some like Ikaruga or something. I honestly don't know if how long it'll take. All right, hey y'all. If you're interested in a teacher. Let's see. Oh, what the heck? Why didn't it let me do it? Or did I get demoted? No, I didn't get demoted. Let's see here. Twitch.tv / unlockable character. Oops. Character. Oh wow. Oh, okay. I posted it. What's poppin'? Hey, bleeding teeth. Hello. Hey, Jared. Thank you so much. What's your Discord? Hey, Catbone. Hi, Rosebow. Thank you so much. Okay, so like I said, today's stream is. You can see from the title, Teacher breaks the meta. I am going to be doing some meta breaking strategies. let's see here. From okay. All right, so let's go ahead and I think I got everybody going in here. So let's go ahead and switch this up. Fancy background. Yeah, let's go see some high IQ teacher plays. Since this is not a game, since we're gaming today, we are going to set it to green. And this will. Oh, I got 15 viewers. Well, thank you so much for those who are here. We're doing something different here, right? I am a teacher. That is my day job. I am a teacher. I teach high school. And today we are going to actually make a rubric because this, with distance learning and everything, everyone's always confused, and I'm just trying to figure out a way to make my own distance learning much more equitable for everyone. So if you want to hang out, just come by. Also, I would appreciate any follows are always great. I do appreciate that. It's going good so far. So let's go ahead and see some high IQ teacher plays doing this. And hey, it's a great experiment in distance learning, great experiment in public learning. So let's just go ahead and title this thing. We'll just call it right. Oh, I got a follow. Thank you so much. Jet Go Stupid. I just read the name, man. So just so you know, thank you so much. Wow. And I got Who's Missed. Thank you so much. I don't know how long it takes. Oh, there they are. I'm getting a bunch of follows. Yes, I did set up my Streamlabs. I was trying to mess around with it a little bit, so maybe you can get this working. Yeah, you did. Thank you so much. So, I see Miss Sawyer is here. So, what is the whole point of this rubric? Let's see here. Equitable. I'll just title it Equitable Rubric. So, if you're a teacher, if you're one of my coworkers or someone that just saw on my social blast, I am actually going to create a rubric based on what me and the teachers have been learning in the past, past couple of months. So, if you're a student here, your teachers aren't just sitting there staring at a computer all day, all right? We are actually making some really great work. We're trying to make things, grading better for everybody. So, let's just talk about a couple of things before we start, okay? So why make a new rubric, okay? And here's the biggest thing. The biggest thing that I have learned from just, and your other teachers have learned, is the rubric, the traditional grading system, okay, that we have is from literally the 1800s, okay? Literally from the 1800s. And that is an old meta game, right? Imagine playing Counter-Strike and you have been playing the same way since 1999, right? For 20 years, nothing has changed. The game gets stale. People find ways to beat the game in less than yes, if you would like to donate, I forgot to add the donate I forgot to add a donate button. I will add a donate button just later. So I do play Counter-Strike, yes. But imagine it's easy to it gets to the point where everyone can beat the game without actually really trying, and it starts walking into territory where the methods become so outdated that you can't actually get anything done, and you might start walking into things like in the case of grading, we have equity problems, and that's really the thing. People are starting to grade based on how they feel about a student rather than how the student objectively performs, right? So that's what we're probably that's the main reason I'm designing this rubric. So with this new semester, my school picked up a semester system. This is a great opportunity to just pick up a new way. Yeah, facts over feelings. People are putting feelings over facts sometimes, and we really want to try and make the system as equitable as possible. And yeah, and that's really just that's really the big takeaway from here. So here's what I'm actually going to do. I was thinking about this rubric, and I'm planning on keeping the same essential format of an A, B, C, D, and F system, okay? Because I personally feel like that system is familiar enough for everybody, right? I am K-pop. Hello, 2000 HD Reinhardt Shield State. You get 10% wiggle room. You get an upgrade above an F, but a 59% window to fail. Shake my head. Exactly. So there's way more. We're starting to see in the meta game that students are finding more ways to fail than to actually succeed, or we're getting in the worst situation where students are passing but they're not qualified to be in that situation. Is this rubric going to be applicable to our course or with minimal? So what I'm doing for now is really, this is just really new stuff. So I want to say this is applicable for pretty much every course. It's barring there's some minor adjustments. So I'm gonna go ahead. So let's just stick with this because that's the most. Thank you for the follow. Uvuvio sauce. So I'm going to stick with this particular part. That's what we're all familiar with, and it'll just when we have to explain to parents, it's not going to be super difficult. Oh, thank you so much, Soria83. I totally appreciate it. This is awesome. This is awesome. I might actually do more teaching streams like this. I'm here for the thought process, thinking through the thought. Yeah, and yeah, this is the biggest thing. Like being able to have the thought process. Teach us people who are teachers will get to see what's going on in a teacher's brain. Right, so I'm gonna keep this. Process, but I've already been kind of playing around with what we're going to do, and I want to say the biggest discussion is we should start grading on a rubric, and traditionally we all know, everyone in here knows what that looks like, right? So assignments, if your assignments are pretty much from 100% to 90%, right? We all know this, right? Assignments equal 89% to 80%, right? Assignments equal to 79% to 70%, right? And then we've seen this before. Assignments equal 69% to, let's see here, 60%. Right. And then finally, we have that big one. This is a big, for those who are non-teachers, this is a huge point of contention for those in the educational community. Assignments equal 50% to 0. So there is literally a 50% difference, right? To get an A, there's a 10% grace period, right? To get the F, there's 50%, right? It's a big thing, as Red Baloo is saying. Right, 59%. Oopsie daisies, 59% even. Right, that's a big thing, and considering how grading systems work, right, you get the F if you do that. That has been the metagame for many years, almost 150 years now, and as much as it is, right, I'm actually going to make this. This is going to be a one of those controversial plays. I want to keep this one. I'm going to keep this, okay? But here's the thing. My thinking behind keeping this is just because it's the most familiar. It doesn't require a huge pivot, and rather what I'm trying to do is add more to the actual rubric and the thinking. And it's not really this isn't a really good, if it's just this, it's not a good rubric to work with because that's all it is. Right, those who aren't teachers, you've already know there's days where you are stressing out over that one assignment that you will get a 0 for, and then your A suddenly becomes a C-, right? Yeah, and Red Baloo is mentioning this is what colleges go by, so it's hard to move away from it too much without upsetting the balance. That's true, and that really is one of the biggest things that I needed to consider, right? And that is why I'm not going to put that out. So my rubric, I'm going to have assignments equal 100% to 90%. I might actually be a little bit more open with this, maybe making this gap a little smaller. I'm actually going to make it 85 I feel like it will open the gap, because we're not just going to consider, in this particular metagame, we're not going to consider just the assignment. Okay, because there's going to be so many other factors that go into this, right? And we're gonna make this 70%. So now it's gonna be, so the grades are, there's gonna be a higher, there's gonna be a much bigger gap for these grades. So a C would actually be in the percentage of 69% to, I will say, 50%. And then while that's 55. Let's keep that. And then 54% to, I want to say, let's see, 40%. And from here on out, 39% I think is a fair number. I think we need to realize this is a revolution and will take time. Indeed, yeah. And I'm saying, like, this is like, I'm changing the metagame. This takes time to pilot a rubric like this. It takes time. It takes energy. And honestly, this is gonna be, I was thinking about this, and it's gonna be more difficult on the teacher more than anything else because of the requirements that this rubric will be asking for. So I think this is fine. And then I will, this is so that's the first part. Assignments, assignment average. Let's say average, right? So if the student averages, and that's a really big thing for me, averages 54%, right? And I want to also consider turn-in rate. So gluttons for punishments, yes, we are. So let's just look at the A, okay? What would I want to see in an A student? If I were in high school right now, what would I want? Because I feel like, I am a product of this very traditional, very rigid system. And as a teacher that's been teaching 8 years, it just doesn't work. And that's 15, this is like me, 15 years down the line, right? So I would actually include assignment turn-in rate, okay? And I would actually put 100%. If a student is within 100% and the 85% turn-in rate, and this is why this rubric gets more difficult. You have to start considering the turn-in rate of that student. You have to see, like, I can think of three or four students that have high turn-in rates, or that have students that are high average, but at the same time might end up with like, oh, I missed a couple of assignments. This is gonna be on the test. No, this is gonna decide how your test will be graded. So I became a teacher for the money and the fame. That's hilarious. Hilarious. Yes, we are all in it for the money and the fame. I'm streaming. This is for the money and the fame after all, right? So, I'm actually gonna make this a little tinier. So I think assignment turn-in rate is an important thing to differentiate between, and really, this rubric is something that I really want to just have that kind of thing. I should probably add another function of this rubric. So this rubric's function, right, holistic, looks at the whole student, and also objective, database, uses more data points for the educator to determine, what's that word? I'm losing the word. Thank you for the follow. Thank you, Haley Bale. To determine competency. I'm just gonna use that for now. Competency. All right. So I think this would be good right here, because there's gonna be a situation like, even in the real mastery. That's it. Mastery. Yeah. Mastery. And I also want to say this is grounded in what a professional grounded in post-school expectations, right? When we work, right, there's not going to be time, like, we all know that there's going to be times when we're operating at 100%, but there's going to be also times where we're only like able to realistically submit 85% of our work in the time frame. So some might say this might be a little bit low, but I really feel like, considering this is a new system I'm developing, I'm happy with this one. That which each letter grade really means. We have the idea that A, best, and F equals fail, but that's a really toxic way of viewing the learning process. Oh my gosh, thank you for reminding me, Mr. Gagne. I was thinking about this as well. So I was actually going to base it based on video games as well. So having, the material, like, you are considered wood, like Wood League, right? Iron. This is like loosely based on League of Legends. Iron, um, and then this is, I want to say, because of the iron, silver, gold, and because I would feel like gold means that you have the technical mastery, but not so much the thinking mastery, and this is just an extra thing. I know, and this is like, just like diamond. That's just something I wanted to put out there, but let's just go in there. I don't know. That's something we'll put. That's a for me. That's a for me thing. This could be deleted. That part. This whole left side could be deleted. Anyway, assignment average. Okay, so now in the context of just learning practice and psychology, it's probably really important to consider. As educators, we want to see an increase in behavior, right? So I want to say, let's use this in the context of distance learning. Camera activated and facing and face on and showing face, and this one is one of those things that quote unquote ruffles a couple feathers, right? I want to say 80% of the time. Now, why am I putting this in here? Because it's a behavior. Okay, this is something that we want to see an increase in behavior. This is something we can keep track of as an educator. Like, this student has is showing some kind of participation. And here's the thing with this new equitable grading system, right? We can't use extra credit, and we also cannot use participation, but something like this kind of shows like professionalism in a sense. So assignment app. So these are the three criteria that I'm going with for my students. And 80% I think is a great number for an A student. We have introverts, right? We have extroverts. I love having my camera on all the time. I'm even doing this streaming thing. I'm not a shy person, but I can think of a lot of people who are shy. I know people who would like to have, that privacy. I wish we could do more incomplete grades, and I was thinking about that too. I'll get back to the incomplete grade because I did give incomplete grades this year, for this last semester. So camera activated and showing 80% of the time. And microphone, let's see here, I'll move this over here. Microphone use. Uses microphone to answer questions. And interact with teachers and with class. I want to say once again, 80% of the time. Question: what about the people who live in an area where they don't have good internet and have to have their cameras off in order to participate at all? Ooh, see, this is where this is why we're sticking with this A, because this is where the question, I have considered that, right? So in terms of differentiating our grade to make it something more different, something much more equitable, and to put into consideration the student that legitimately cannot have them, that's where all these other criteria fall into place. So a student it's just I'm not giving a percentage, right? These are all pretty much, if the student can satisfy a majority of these, right, I will give that student an A. So if the camera is on, let's say 50% of the time, because we had that issue last semester, right? If the camera is on 50% of the time, but I'm seeing all these behaviors coming off, I would not hesitate to give the student an A, right? Mainly because there's no way the system could be gamed. So one doesn't need to hit all the bullet points for the A. I would say, the mathematical majority would probably, and this is also where the teacher's expertise comes into play, right? This rubric really does take into consideration the teacher's experience level and just how much they understand their kids, right? Um, let's see here. And what about the inequity in what is considered camera ready for students who Oh, yes. So once again, that like those the inequities that do inevitably come up with a teacher asking a student to explicitly open their cameras up and they are not. I have one student that I have a feeling might be hesitant to use the camera, um, but I have a good feeling the student will be fitting these criteria relatively well. I'm gonna be happy with as well. Now, here's another thing, like letting someone into their space. Yeah, that's one I've brought into my attention. Yeah, so I really would imagine that's probably something I want to consider, like the assignment average 100%, and yeah, camera activating and showing face 80% of the time. Um, I think I have some other notes in here somewhere that hold on a second. I have some other notes in here that I need to check real quick because there was something that I put in there. Okay, yeah. So 80% of the time, definitely. And those are probably falling into that like these things could be changed, I think. So I really think, and this sort of grading in general relies on teachers knowing, yeah, this is a very, and that's really that was my biggest concern. Like this is a difficult rubric to pilot. I struggle with the percentage of the time, each class, total time in a week, in a semester. This one I feel like needs to be used with a separate tracker. So yeah, it is definitely this is a definitely, and it's also, keep in mind, this is like my first foray into this, and I'm really, really eager to try this out. And I'm coming from a perspective of one, making sure it's like fair, but two, it also makes sure that the teacher isn't like put in that situation where the where it becomes like, like they'll get pressed into giving a student a grade. So let's see here. Yeah, the percent of the time each class. I would say 8 per class, or just in a holistic sense. So, yeah. So for me, what I would do, I just literally just take a look, see how often, and it goes with my practice. I just say, oh, I like how so and so, and I do keep a notebook. I do keep a notebook of the students that are so, and then I just kind of check them off as time goes. And having this simple, easy to keep track of rubric, and I think this is pretty much what I feel where I'm at in terms of satisfying a grade. Let me refer to my other notes here because this is what I'm actually using for now. So let's see here. If I want to be, okay, yeah. So submits. This one's 80% of the time. So I would say here for the B grade, right? For a B, I would say submits assignments with a rate of 79%, 79%, or, and this could look in so many different ways too. 79% to, I want to say 60. What did I put here? Yeah, 79 to 60% to 69%. So that's what I would probably put it in. Once again, considering, and then the camera activation time is once again less. So these are the 4 main criteria I'm going to be using for distance learning, right? And then I really honestly cannot think of anything else at the moment that that I can put in that I feel, because I'm just thinking about that, because there's also, I want to also go scroll down a bit on something like incomplete, right? So incomplete. And I honestly think this one is not enough data, not enough student data to justify a failing grade. And that could come in a form of the student came in late into the class period, came in late into the semester, Um, Also, there's a documented catastrophic documented catastrophic like situation. So I would think that this would be like an incomplete right here, right? But this also comes once again, like the biggest thing for equitable grading is being delete column. The biggest thing about equitable grading is literally you have to know your kids, and as much as it is, I think that's like the one thing I feel like like we can't like not consider. The only thing is like, oh, let's just consider like let's say in a classroom setting. So let's see here. I'll put an extra section in for classroom setting. Classroom setting. So in terms of classroom setting, okay. So this is where I'm stumped. Like, how would we make an A? What would an A student look like in a classroom setting, right? So that's what I'm gonna be doing. So when do we start grading? Great question. So the grading part, like, I still think the majority will still come from here, right? So the assignment average, so these are your traditional Google Classroom assignments. These are your weekly tests, your weekly assignments, your daily do-nows, right? And these are what you will make a majority of the grade, what will determine the majority of the grade. These other things are are just basically documented things that you can put to justify you giving a student an A or a B based on their behavior. So I would imagine like not so much participation, but like like in a classroom setting, I would say behavior. Between grading and collecting data, PowerSchool collects data, we grade. So we can have data collected, but that isn't necessarily an accurate reflection of a grade a student earns. That makes sense. That makes sense. I feel like there's a difference between grading and collecting data. And that really is something we really have to consider, right? Like this part right here is the data collecting part. And then the grading part, ooh. See, this is this is hard. I was like, I knew I was I was like looking at this too. I have my notes here. I'm like trying to figure it out. I'm like, man, that really is something we grade. We have data collected. I agree. 3 to 5 weeks in, I would say the sooner the better. Like, as soon as we start seeing it, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to start putting in grades after my 4th assignment. It is. Honestly, I'm writing this right now, Soria, and I'm like, man, how am I going to do this? And that's the kind of that's the kind of learner I am. I'm very kinetic. So like I have to see what it looks like because I'm very floaty in my head, so it always looks better in my head, and then it's one of those things where it sounds better in your head, and now like we get into the situation grading behavior, but sometimes performance is grading into behavior. Yeah, well for PE it is. Yeah, performance. Yeah, I mean, you know what I'm missing. I'm missing formative and you know what? Yeah, I'm missing formative and summative assessment. So we need some kind of formative and summative assessment. Summative assessment. So this one goes into that situation where like that goes into the teacher designing their assessment, right? So you know what? It might actually be better if I add an extra. Yeah, I'll keep it like this: formative and summative assessment. And let's see here. So the formative assessment, Where would I grade? Because like when I grade, it's when I actually make that call, right? It's when I make that call on whether or not the student deserves an A or a B for assignments. And this one, yeah, this one is more of an overall grade. I'm very rubric based, so that's why it gets a lot more demanding, right? In rubrics, in other rubrics, in assignment rubrics. I feel like data isn't related to behavior, but they can do work. They can both work together to shape a grade. Yeah, and that's the thing about behavior. It really, that is the part where we're really really like close to like hitting that wall where we're actually becoming, where it becomes inequitable when you start looking at the behavior. But if we look at it as a behavior formation, so like let's say let me think, because I think about the student that does all the assignments, right? But doesn't. But they just play the system. We just don't. We don't want. I feel like because like my interpretation of an A is a well-rounded student that knows how to do their assignments, but also is exhibiting behaviors that will translate to success in the future, without having to say like, oh, you get this, and there's no basis on it. Is that okay though to play the game? It is. I think it's okay to play the game. I think part of a student, if a student plays the game like the way they do, that's part of success. Yeah. So getting that definition of success, who has worked hard and studied to catch up on missing work, but who mathematically earns only a C. That's very different. Yeah. For the camera and microphone, wouldn't it be hard to collect? And wouldn't that grading, thank you for sharing, Kazuken. Also, wouldn't that grading be based on the teacher's feelings if the student's behavior is acceptable? Yes. That is a great point of view. Kazu, are you are you coming from a perspective of a teacher or a student? Because I'm curious. Like I'm legitimately curious because that actually puts into, that's a really good point. I just don't know what perspective that's coming from, and that would be really cool to know what perspective that's coming from. That's really cool. See, this is cool. We're really caught on this. This is why I thought this rubric was not gonna. I knew I wasn't gonna be done by student. Oh my god, awesome! Thank you for that. So, Mr. Gagne, we got a student perspective here, and that's great. Right? This is what's so great about this. This is why I knew this was a great idea. So we have a student's perspective, and it's a public learning, right? All right, grading debate. So I would say, like, if the teacher, like I said, because I'm also making this mainly for myself, and also as a jumping off point for these great discussions, right? It is very interesting, right? I'll tell you right now, this stuff teachers can go for hours on. I didn't realize it, but I've already been talking for 40 minutes. No, teachers are very. If you're in the same school as me, Ms. Soria and Mr. Gagne, we are very passionate about this particular topic, right? I've been talking for 40 minutes about this, and so for me, that is the biggest thing I want to be afraid. Like, I really want to avoid, oh, I'm giving so and so this grade because I feel like this person was there 80% of the time, right? That is probably why, like, we really need to make sure, like, that's like that falls into the discussion of how the teacher is keeping track of their students' engagement on a day-to-day basis. Are they checking every 10 minutes? Are they checking every half an hour, right? And it's exhausting. It is exhausting work. So This is why, that's also my big hang up, and this is why it's so hard to change a rubric. This is why it's so hard to change what we've had since the 1850s. Yeah, every teacher has, we live in a postmodern world, and every teacher has a different definition of engagement. Like, my definition of engagement, so we can just have a baseline, is the student is submitting work, and I'm hearing from the student in, I would say, roughly, like, more than just regularly. I can actually like have like a working discussion with them. Good or subjective teacher adjustment to grades, good or bad? Yeah. Wait, what was the question? And how are they defining engagement? But yeah. Subjective teaching grading. I mean, I feel like my profession, there is going to be a level of subjectivity in it. The teacher will like, I want to like, I'm gonna make an anime reference here. So in the anime Demon Slayer, right, the teacher decided, was the one that made the decision whether or not Tanjiro, the main character, was ready to do the ultimate test. And as much as it is, his test was he was going to fight demons for 7 days in a row, and he had to prepare him for that. That's a really crazy summative assessment, right? And I think at the end of the day, I'm willing to say that the teacher does have to make that the subjective has to make that subjective call. So, but they have to also base it on like base it on some data and how much faith they have in the student, right? And then, man, like, it's really hard to work within this framework. Like, that's really what's starting to get me now, because I originally thought I could just make this work in this framework of this A, but like I said, we can't go too crazy. We can't, because if you go too far, if you stray too far from this, you're gonna risk the student not getting into. You're gonna risk the student not getting prepared for a college level grading, because in college the student will just be graded sometimes with just one assignment. Yeah, without teacher subjectivity, a grade doesn't get bumped to a B minus, even if a student deserves to have it bumped up. Yeah, I think here's the thing. I personally believe my job will never be replaced by a machine, right? So, because we need that human element. That's the thing about being a teacher. There's gonna always be the human element, and we need to define deserve. I feel like defining deserve really has to be based on, once again, like the teacher needs to be able to have the definition for me, right? And when I say deserve, I really like, when I gave I bumped up a lot of grades because I felt kids deserved the grade. And the main reason I did that was because I was like going by their potential and how well I knew them, and it only came to the point that I knew them. The ones that I was basing it off potential. Yeah, 80% of the time, or quantify deserve 80% of the time. Yeah, and it really does need to. There are a lot of terms, so we probably need to make a to-do list here, right? So let's see here. This rubric's gonna be great when I'm done with it. To-do list, right? Define deserve. Define the following terms, right? And I really don't think the teachers are gonna all come into the what deserves, right? Differentiate between facts versus feelings, right? Yeah, I am struggling with the data versus feelings of potential and deserve, because I remember, because that was something that I was thinking about too when we were going through that professional development, because the speaker was talking about potential, and I'm like, okay, what does that look like? Deserve versus potential, right? Deserves versus potential. differentiate between facts and feelings, deserving versus potential, right? Right, and what does potential mean? Are we opening a door to bias? Ooh, yeah. Right, we really want, and that really is what this rubric's for, to just get rid of the bias. And I'm just trying to make it so, or equity traps. I don't even know if I'm falling into an equity trap right now. I might have already sank so deep into an equity trap, right? And probably we have to look into finding the equity trap. So I'll do that. I'll put it on the to-do list for now. But let's say, that's why I put the term interact, right? That interact would be like the student, because that's what I want to see. Like, that's what I would like to see. And what I would, this is what I would say is an A student, right? So let's say formative assessment. I mean, not so much so formative, I suppose. I mean, the formative assessment, okay, this is going to sound crazy. But the formative assessment can be a way to track potential, okay? So, should I grade that? Should I grade the formative assessment? Yeah, of course. Yeah, okay, so, if we graded the formative assessment, yeah. Okay, so, yeah, camera on. Let's you know what, maybe this is needlessly complicated. Interacts with class and teacher 80% of the time during meetings. 80% of the time. This will probably, I'm going to put this in red. Okay, I'm just going to put a note on here. So I'll put a note here. Needs clarification. 80% of what? Daily? Weekly? Monthly? Yearly? There we go. So we made some good... Okay, so needs clarification. 80% of what? Daily, weekly, monthly, yearly? Ooh, per assignment? So this one, I would say this one. This is the per assignment. Assignment score averages 100. Yeah, it's hard, and you know what? The thing is, when you're doing a rubric, you do set yourself up in a level of vulnerability, like saying it's like, hey, maybe like, you know, you're setting yourself up in a level of vulnerability because you are really kind of, the one thing you can never get rid of in a teacher is their ideology, their personal ideology, right? And I'm actually a lot of my practice has been focused on teacher ideology and how to work with teacher ideologies to make that person a better teacher, right? Do we want an average or a mean or a median? And I never considered that, right? I'll put a note here. Mean, median, or mode. We're already, could you believe it? We're already at 49 minutes. Right. I would say this one, I think this one I like. I'm going to keep this one, just mainly because turn-in rate is going to be important. And on time. I want to say and on time. This is going to be real, like, because in college, sometimes you can get an extension. Right. Let's see, what else do we have here? What else do we have here on this thing? Hold on a second, I gotta check I got a message on my Discord. Okay. Let's see, your turn-in rate. Are some assignments more important than others? Yes. Right. In my class that I teach, the biggest and most important assignment is the arm fair assignment, right? So I feel like maybe submits major assignments. I think submits the major assignment. Submits major assignments, right? But what I usually do with the assignments is I usually break them down into multiple things, right? some of my students know this because they, when I saw them submit the major assignment, that's what helped their grades boost up, right? I think that was like I felt like that was like the most fair way we could do this. Is spot on in the measuring mastery. Does a student need to turn in 80% if they nail the big stuff? Okay, so the question is basically, if a student nails the big stuff, quote unquote, right, in the formative assessment, let's just say we do an assignment where the student, and it was a formative assessment on writing an essay, student knocks it out of the park objectively based on my rubric, right, on another assignment rubric, right. I mean, that tells me that at that point the student might be that tells me that the student has their mechanics down, and then that would imply that they are going to need maybe more strategic thinking to get further in. So do grades measure compliance or mastery or some combination? I would say, you know what? Maybe formative assessment measures compliance to the standard, to the standard, right? So for example, I put out a writing assignment, right? And I measure the compliance to that, to the Common Core standards, right? So Common Core standards, right? Common Core standards, Common Core, right? So, and then summative assessment measures mastery, right? Measures mastery. I think we should grade compliance. And the main reason I want to say we should grade compliance is because we'll be putting these students, when they leave my classroom, they'll be competing against other students and other people that have scored higher in those metrics. So it would probably be important to score them on that, right? And then mastery, I would probably put more weight on the formative than I would on the math. Okay, that might be going too far though. Scored higher based on a rubric that I designed. So so obviously this is just a general assignment. This is like in general, right? This would be like something that I would submit. This would something I would be using when I am making like my decision making to whether or not a student gets the A or B or C. Right. Let's see here, measures mastery. Formative assessment measures compliance. This is so fun. I'm really enjoying this. It feels like a let's play. Summative assessment measures mastery. Yeah, you would have never thought that just changing the setup. It's not really like a meeting. Summative assess. I would say. I mean, that's where we decide. Oh, you know what? I haven't figured out yet. What a dreadful concept. Okay, you know what I haven't figured out yet? The weight of every particular thing. Right? So let's also consider weight of grade weight. Right? So let's just go weight. So let's say the assignment, I think, considering that we want to stay in the more traditional, I want to say assignment scores, averages are going to be roughly, how many you got? 1, 2, 3, we have 5. So if we were to split that up evenly over 100%, right? I'm willing to say 70%. So 70%. Assignment score, averages, and turn-in rate is 70% of the student's grade. So maybe be more specific. Daily small assignments. Yeah. Okay, yeah, so now I'm stuck. Assignment score, averages, and turn-in rate 70% of the student's grade. And then so I'm gonna put a note. I'm gonna put a note for myself here. I'm gonna put a note for myself. Uh, 70% average based on daily assignments. Man, I thought this is gonna be, man, these breaking the meta game is really difficult, class. I'd rather have the two big assignments that measure mastery versus all the little ones. Okay. I can see that. Okay, how about this? Based on daily assignments and skill builders, right? Some of my students know that I titled my assignments skill builders, right? So we'll put that. So lifelines and skill builders live here, right? So skill building assignments and skill building assignments. And then let's see here, weight. And then going with what you're saying with the measure mastery, right? So formative assessment, I want to say 10%. Summative, I feel like it might be a little bit. I feel like we might be, because if I start putting interacts with class 80% of the time, that's going to become a participation thing, and then that means I'm no longer compliant with what we're trying to do, right? So, okay, let's just put a number down here, just 10%. So now we have like 10%. It feels like we just went in a big circle. It just feels like, I think the weight is probably where we're gonna have to be. Is where we live. It's where we're living on here. Actually, I say 50%. I mean, if a D is a 54%, we might as well just say 50%. Yeah, how we design assignment design. So I'll say 50% on this, and then formative and summative, I'll just lump it together as 20%. And if you're a student, sound off. Tell me what you think. Hello, my friend. Hi, Shrimp. Thank you so much for joining. We're just trying to figure out what to do with with my rubric and how to grade kids. Let's see here. 20%. Maybe 25. 20%. And then No. Yeah, this is where it gets hard. Okay, we're already breaking an hour on this, so I actually have a meeting too. So this is definitely gonna be something we'll be going back to, in just later today. Or I'm actually, I might actually do another stream while we figure out, because there's a lot of questions that come up. Formative assessment versus summative assessment. Let's see here. And we're still working on it. This is still a work in progress. I better put that as a note, because I'm gonna share this out with my team, and they're like, "Why is it so insane?" it's like everyone, it's a work in progress. Don't at me. This is a work in progress. Let's see here. Formative versus summative, 20%, and then it's just I mean, for now, we'll just put other category, like just targeted behavior, I guess. Targeted behavior thing. Man, this goes by fast. Targeted behavior standards, right? So that could be that's where we're talking about, like, interacting with the class, microphones on, being in the class. This might actually look better, honestly, if we weren't in a distance learning setting. What do they measure? Should we even assign them? Yeah. Targeted behavior. 20%. We'll just table it for now. So I'll put 30%, and then I'll say we'll table this for now. Table this for now. And then, so the question arises, can an A-hole student still get an A? See, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking like, a student that's really very like rude to a teacher and is not showing signs of, let's say, or just like, explicitly showing like disrespect for the principle of the entire grading and the equitable grading. I don't think should be getting A's like that. Um, so yeah, but the behavior, well, that'll be something we'll think about, and I'll have to we'll have to think about over time. But I think that's probably gonna be one of the things. We'll now that we've got like, I think it's good that we stuck on the A part. That's a discipline issue, yeah. Hmm. We probably should. It's definitely something we should go back to the drawing board on, when it comes to just when it comes to grading them based on their behaviors. And this is like a good discussion. This is a good discussion to start on, right? Because we really need to understand where this will fall at the end of the day. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and save this for now, and then we're gonna. This is good thinking, because I feel like there's more to this, and then we're only on the A. For all we know, I might actually do another stream in like maybe 2 days, and then see where I made some progress. And yeah. Anyway, we'll call this a day. Thank you so much for the chat and those who joined in. I really do appreciate it. I'm actually gonna share this out on like my socials and everything, and share it out with the teachers, and just see the process, because this was a good thing, and yeah. Anyway, I will put this on my YouTube, and if you're, please follow, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. I will see. I have a meeting, so funnily enough, so I will see you all next time. Have a good day, everyone. Thanks for watching. This is a very interesting stream. Very different stuff. And yeah, Miss Oria, we will think about the discipline, and we will think about targeted behavior and all that stuff in just a moment soon.